our initial plan, coming down 9 months pregnant, again, it was very calculated, and we had found a doctor in San Jose. Yes, it is 3.5, 4-hour drive away.
But at the SEMA Hospital.
But at the SEMA Hospital, state-of-the-art, beautiful facility, private. Checked all the boxes on how we wanted to have our baby.
You get a private room. You get a doctor, a pediatrician. You can have your doula there. You can do water birth. Dr. Adam Pear is a leading obstetrician in
pioneer in natural birth for over a decade.
Yeah.
And so that was our plan A.
Yes.
And as birth plans go, they never go as planned. So we ended up exploring some options prior to that in Liberia, in the private hospitals here.
There's 3 of them, which is fantastic, within half an hour.
And we have a SEMA hospital 10 minutes from here, which unfortunately doesn't have a maternity ward yet, so we weren't able to have the baby here.
But we did look at the options in Liberia, and the same idea, just different doctors, that the private rooms are available, and the same sort of luxurious birthing room and options are available as well. They roll out the red carpet, and Chris would be able to stay and have a bed, and there's Wi-Fi and room service and everything else there. So, but that was why we chose that original option, and it came highly recommended by a lot of locals and by a lot of expats that have moved here, so who have had great experiences. So, and as it turns out, we ended up at the public hospital, which though I never looked into, so I just didn't expect to end up there, which turned out to be, as I said, like absolutely phenomenal and just a really brilliant natural experience. The care of the doctors, who spoke Spanish, of course, and English, and we were able to communicate with them our wishes, and they were able to then help us out to get the birth that we wanted. The staff was phenomenal. We had a ton of nurses looking after us, and the doctor would come in regularly, and
it was fantastic care for mom and baby, and top-notch service. And
of course, we have like the fair-haired baby in a room full of very dark-haired, beautiful babies. So Cruz became a main attraction for everybody walking by, and they'd come in and they'd look at him. So it was very nice.
It was a perfect birth.
Yeah.
Story of Cruz's birth. Oh, the craziness of it.
Well, he came 2 weeks early, so we didn't really expect it, and our car was still sitting in customs and hadn't arrived yet, so we were without a vehicle and thought, oh, we've got lots of time, I'll have our stuff here. As it turns out, he was in a hot hurry, so the morning of, I went into labor at about 6 o'clock, and from there we thought, oh, we'd have time and go to San Jose and make the drive, and maybe stop for lunch, that sort of thing, and it didn't turn out that way at all. It was a bit of a blur for me, so.
Yeah. So as the story goes, Krista went into labor at about 6 o'clock in the morning. We realized we don't have a vehicle, we don't have a dog sitter, so we needed to call on Mike's expertise in pulling in some resources, and Nelson came over with a car from Adobe. He had called Michelle, an acquaintance of his. She's new to Costa Rica, an expat as well from the States, and she came over, dropped everything on
graciously to look after our dog.
We called, our neighbors came over from the complex here we just met.
Yep.
They were making phone calls to doctors and to doulas, and a local girl, Andrea, who's a doula in practice, learning to be a doula. She came over and gave us some support. Well, time was ticking, so everything started happening around 1 o'clock. The car got dropped off, Andrea showed up, Michelle showed up. We didn't actually end up getting out of here until about 3 p.m. Krista in full-blown labor, and we had half an hour to drive to Liberia, which was our plan B. San Jose was out. The doctor we had found, who was fantastic, unfortunately we didn't have time to go to the SEMA hospital there. It was a private hospital. We had some options in Liberia that we explored which weren't really on the table anymore.
So decided the public hospital would be the way to go, and ended up in emergency there. Was pushed through triage, fully dilated. Cruz is on his way.
This was at 3:45.
Yeah,
and by 4:20 he was born.
He was born. The hospital was amazing. The doctor was phenomenal, and staff. We spent the night there, and they fed and watered us and took care of him, and it was a phenomenal experience.
We'd explored how much it was going to cost to have a baby here in Costa Rica and Canada. It's free, in the States it is not.
But
in the private hospitals,
come here.
Rummy, that's enough. In the private hospitals, we had priced out a couple anywhere from $4,000 to $5,000.
Yeah, in San Jose it was a little bit less.
A little bit less.
For a private hospital there. And then had priced it out in the Liberian private hospital there, and it was around $4,500 US. So we had expected in the public hospital, with the great care that we received, not knowing, but we expected it to have some sort of price tag. And when we went to the cashier to actually check out of the hospital with him, they told us there was no charge. There was no charge for anything. It was completely free, and that was it. And we questioned it, and they said no, and have a good day, and that was it. It's the high value of family and babies.
The family values in Costa Rica are amazing.
Yeah.
And another box that got checked off when we came down, right?
And we come from a really great organized healthcare system, so we don't know what to expect or what we're getting, and we were blown away at how great it was.